When the fuck is this orange goddamn piece of shit ever gonna fucking learn? Trump has just announced that he will be accepting the Republican nomination on Axe Handle Saturday in Jacksonville, Florida. To give a little history on Axe Handle Saturday, if you don't know what that is, I'd be happy to give you some history on it. Axe Handle Saturday was a racially motivated attack that took place in Hemming Park, Jacksonville, Florida on August 27, 1960. A group of white men attacked African Americans who were engaging in sit-in protests opposing racial segregation. The attack took its name from the axe handles used by attackers. If this shit doesn't fucking infuriate you, I don't know what the fuck will. And if it don't fucking infuriate you, unfollow me, block me. I do not give a damn about you. I could care less that you follow me. So get the fuck out of my comments. I don't want to see you there. Ye fucking haul.
President Trump was frustrated and angry over the turnout.
Thanks to a secret campaign on TikTok.
The most powerful generation our world has seen.
Look out, you're talking to your highness. Can't see me, I'm the reason for your blindness. They tried this, but I'm too classy for your lines.
Are you ready to get mad? Good. If this is on your For You page, please share, copy link, and comment something long for the algorithm so that more people can hear this. Let's get started. I'm sure you've heard about this daycare provider who hanged a toddler and was only sentenced to probation, while this African-American homeless mom was sentenced to 5 years in prison for using her friend's address to enroll her son to school. Wait, she's homeless. What address was she supposed to use? Oh, but it gets worse. This man was in prison for 28 years after a woman dreamt that her. She dreamt it, not even him, but that doesn't even make it any better. 28 years. Now look at this case. Now, this this pig right here was charged with 2 cases and took a plea deal and only served 1 year of probation. Now, these 2 people did the same thing, but one did it to an 11-year-old girl and one did it to a 3-month-old girl. But look at the top right. This African-American man gets 12 years for making out with a white girl that he met at a 21-plus bar. He got 6 times the amount of time that this guy did.
Funny how the media covers white riots versus black protests.
Breaking news.
Seems like when the protesters are black, the media uses some pretty harsh words.
The bad guys, lawlessness, looting,
Wild animals,
criminals, and thugs.
Thugs. Isn't it the right word?
However, if you're white and you're tearing up the city because of a game, you're just young people.
Young people danced on a flipped-over car as UK fans did stupid things.
Some maybe got a little out of control.
Seeing a scene like this just shows how passionate the UK fans are.
It's so tough to lose, and unfortunately the ugly side that we sometimes see in sports.
And notice how the police always show up to a black protest in military-grade equipment, and yet the media claims they're just doing nothing.
It's inexplicable why the police are doing nothing.
Let's mobilize the National Guard.
If I'm a rioter and I see the police doing nothing, I might feel like I have a license.
You would.
But at white riots, the cops actually are standing around doing nothing.
Another group of cops over there just standing there.
No one was really doing anything.
These guys look like...
And then we won't judge you by your color, because you all act the same. You're ruthless. You do whatever you want. Exactly.
Okay, so in case you don't know, she's actually referring to black people when she says that we're all ruthless, and clearly she doesn't understand what ruthless means, so let me explain to you real quick. Ruthless is your ancestors coming over here killing Native Americans and stripping them from their land. Ruthless is shipping black people over from Africa, treating them as a piece of property and forcing them to build a country that oppresses them. Ruthless is segregating black people from participating in every single day activities because they were seen as disgusting and less. Ruthless is stripping Latino children away from their parents and forcing their parents to go to concentration camps, treating them like shit until they get sent back to their home country. Ruthless is innocent lives being taken from the very people that are supposed to protect them simply because of the color of their skin. So don't tell me about ruthless, because at this point we have every single fucking right to be ruthless.
So I just watched a video of our beloved leader, the Great Pumpkin. Oh, sorry, right, that's offensive, that's not his real name. The Great Trumpkin. And he said on national TV, if Ivanka was not my daughter, I would do her. Moment of silence for that. Okay, we're good. And when he started running, he said, I'm going to do whatever I can to protect the LGBT community. Cue the music. Bum, bum, bum. He's already passed an anti-protection bill for LGBT in medical care. So, you know, if I get shot, a doctor can be like, I don't agree with your choice. It makes me uncomfy, so you can go. And now he's trying to pass another bill to make it illegal for gay people to adopt children. So let me just clarify this one. You can call your daughter sexy on national television, and you get to have children. But since my kid has 2 dads, that's crossing the line? That's too far? That's not okay?
Stop scrolling, I need to tell you what happened at the Boston protest yesterday. Copy, share, link, comment for the algorithm, it's really important. During a verbal dispute, an unarmed teenage boy was hit in the head with the butt of a weapon by local law enforcement. Word spread, and relatively quickly, all the people came to protest. And of course, small business owners shut their doors because they were afraid. And a law force called backup. Backup came well armed, and then they decided that it was unlawful. Some of the protesters started to throw dirt at them in response. And the authorities opened fire, shooting and killing a black man, which they deemed fine because they feared for their lives. But the year was 1770, the enforcement was the British soldiers, and the event would later be called the Boston Massacre. The protester who was killed, Crispus Attucks, was a black man who would later be known as a heroic figure in the first death in the American Revolution. While listening to me talk, if you found yourself agreeing with the enforcement that because they used sticks and mud that they deserve deadly force, or that they should have dispersed, you just sided with King George III, the tyrant, not America.
Roses are red. You've run out of luck.
I apologize for the inconvenience of me not giving a fuck!
The protesters and the rioters are all criminals, right? Wrong. The media has been lying to you, and if you want to know how and why, please watch the rest of this video. This clip is from the beginning of the Minneapolis protest. Look at how they're acting, and look at how they're dressed. It's a normal protest. Here's a video from the exact same video, the exact same protest, but pay attention to what he's wearing. A suspicious figure avoiding all cameras and contact starts smashing windows for no reason, starting the violence. Luckily, they were still able to capture what he looks like. Here's a picture. Wait, this isn't a picture of him. This is a picture of him. What you just saw was a hired undercover cop placed there to undermine and slander the protesters. He started the destruction of the AutoZone and the looting at Target. This same looting that allowed the president to authorize the National Guard to use lethal force on protesters. Don't forget this, and don't be tricked by the media.
They really are just solid kids. They don't have an attitude. They're courteous and kind to everybody.
I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
They are one.
I beg your pardon?
You see your daughter in heels. It's a little bit jarring. Yeah, she's lovely.
What's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
I beg your pardon? This is our president? Okay.
'Cause you are the reason why I'm still hanging on. 'Cause you are the reason why my head is still above.
The media isn't giving any attention to what just happened. Before I go on, please like, comment, copy, share, link, signal boost this as much as possible. We need to talk about Robert Fuller. This innocent black man was lynched yesterday in Palmdale, California. Authorities are trying to pass this off as a suicide so they can sweep it under the rug, but there's tons of evidence proving that this was not. Apparently they found his body in front of the Palmdale City Hall and the police department. Do not let this video get to the bottom of the pile. Do not let the media get away with this. Say his name, Robert Fuller. No justice, no peace. Black lives matter.
As a former student of the Little Miami School District, I made a video calling out the school for the racism and discrimination that the administration overlooked. Over the past few days, it has been brought to my attention that the school has been sweeping more things under the rug than racism, discrimination, and death threats. If you're watching this, please like, share, and comment. These students deserve justice. A student who I won't name for privacy reasons who attended the school was facing extreme bullying by his peers that the school overlooked. Eventually, this led him to taking his own life. Someone who's friends with the student reached out to me to tell me that they had made a condolence post, sending love to him, his family, and his friends. The school contacted her and told her to take it down. They even went as far as reaching out to her friends to tell her to take it down. Their reasoning for this was that she was promoting suicide and that it was illegal and it was a crime. The truth is, the school felt guilty for not doing enough for their student, which led him to taking his own life. Unfortunately, there is no screenshots of the school saying this because everything was verbal. Somehow the students who attend the school are still trying to silence me and going as far as making fake rape allegations. I will be taking legal action, but I'll need all the support I can get. Please share this.
You stop scrolling. Stop. Give me 60 seconds, please. So I'm sure that you've noticed that your timeline has gone back to normal pretty quickly, and I guess the protests have died down? Wrong. Protests are still going strong, stronger than ever actually. They're just no longer being broadcasted on major news outlets, and all of your favorite creators have stopped talking about this. What's also not being shown is the plethora of black individuals that have been murdered during this time period. Let's talk about them. 43-year-old Kelvin L. Horton Jr. was fatally shot in Minnesota. 22-year-old James Skurlock was fatally shot in Nebraska. 38-year-old Chris Beatty was fatally shot in Indiana. Just hours after Chris Beatty, Dorian Murrell was shot in Indiana and killed, and he was 18. 53-year-old David McAtee was shot in Kentucky by police. 27-year-old Rayshard Brooks was shot in the back in Atlanta and killed by police. 24-year-old Robert Fuller was found lynched in Los Angeles. 38-year-old Malcolm Harsh was also found lynched in California. Toyin Salou was 19 when she tweeted about her sexual assault. She went missing and was later found murdered. 25-year-old Rhea Milton, 27-year-old Dominique Fells, 2 trans women murdered in the same week, both black. And more.
Hi, please stop scrolling. You have the power to save another human being's life right now. Julius Jones was falsely convicted of murder and assigned a racist judge who on document referred to him as the N-word and said he should die before convicting him. Now that he's convicted, he's days away from death row. You have the power to save his life. He's only being given an hour of sunlight a day for a crime which he did not commit. Please visit the link in my bio, sign the petition. You can save a human being's life. Now. Please.
Racism, bigotry, lying, polygamy, immature asshole on God, pride, mediocrity, Twitter, hypocrisy, and how he handled Iran. Blatant incompetence, he has no common sense, he can't admit when he's wrong. Tax returns, legal shit, bones versus decommit, plus he's unfit for the job. I'm not even Democrat, but these are facts and I hope that you know what you're doing. I could say more, but I'm sure that you get it, and thanks everybody for viewing.
It would sure be horrible if people knew that the NYPD is using sonic cannons on people protesting in New York today. It would also be terrible if people knew to bring either cotton balls or foam earplugs covered in Vaseline to prevent permanent ear damage. It'd also be sickening for people to know that if you have a heart condition, these sonic cannons can kill you. Also, I would be so extremely disappointed if I knew that you would share this video to anybody you know going to the protest today.
Please stop scrolling for just a sec. This is very important and it's not getting enough attention. So please share, copy, link, just send this to everyone because everyone needs to hear this. ICE detention camps are now going to be establishing full-blown gas chambers. The New York Times has called these ICE detention centers concentration camps. Now, I would never compare anything to the Holocaust because that was a terrible time in our history. However, these situations are starting to look far too familiar. They are holding people in these ICE detention centers solely for being undocumented immigrants and no one knows what's happening in there. On top of that, another 1,500 kids went missing from ICE detention centers. That's 3,000 children. Donald Trump is connected to sex trafficking rings, and that is something that you cannot deny. If you think about it, the connections between present-day America and 1940s Nazi Germany aren't that far off. The most terrifying part about it is that the government is against us. We need to stand up for what is right. ICE, we're coming for you next.
My mother told me that suggesting that white privilege is real is disrespectful to my father and all of the work that he's done to get where he is today. So if that's your mindset, let me break something down for you. White privilege does not equal life privilege, and I'll give you an example of that. If someone is born into a lot of money, they're born with the privilege of wealth. They're born with an automatic advantage over people who have less money than them. Does that mean that they're never going to struggle or go through hardships? No! If their family member dies, they're still going to mourn. It just means that they're never going to struggle because of their money, and they're never going to know what it's like to struggle because of money. In the same way, if a person is born white, they're born with a privilege of race. They're born with an automatic advantage over people of color. Does that mean they're never going to struggle? No. Does that mean they're never going to have to work for anything? No. It simply means that they're never going to struggle because of their race, and they're never going to understand what it's like to struggle because of their race. That's it. And acknowledging that is not saying that you're guilty for being white or apologizing for your skin color. It's simply the first step towards eliminating that privilege and gaining real equality.